this fugue compared to the partitas, if I would have to say which one fits the clavichord the best, the partitas by far, really. In this video I will be talking on the Well-Tempered Clavier Prelude and Fugue in E Major Book 1, and specifically on the fugue and difficulties there and fingering. That's coming up right after this. So hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Afterthoughts. My name is Wim Winters and tonight, actually yesterday, I have recorded E Major Prelude and Fugue by J.S.Bach, Well-Tempered Clavier number 1, it's this one. With the fugue, that's difficult, and we're going to talk about that in relationship with fingering and keyboard technique in general. I've added a second camera here, so that focuses on my hands to show you some elements better. Before I go to the fugue, just briefly on the prelude. This is written in 12/8 bar structure, and again, I will not point to any source. We'll go over the coming months and years. We will cover all sources and read them together, but I believe Kellenberg is writing about this, maybe Leopold Mozart as well, that 12/8 is actually similar to, in most cases, to a normal 4/4 bar structure, and that the 8-note structure doesn't count as a firm 8-note count. I mean that you, what I mean is actually I say you can play them as triplets, so you don't play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Would you play? So really treating them as the 3 8 notes as a triplet. So that makes of 12/8 a relatively fast bar structure. It's simply to avoid having to write all the triplets in. I will have an index on the website within 5 years, really, and that's the plan, to have an index with all sources, so you can go to there as a kind of reference source, so to say, that you can find this trill, the C.P.E. Bach, that solution with Zurich, that solution, and so on. So that would be great also for me, because you lose track by reading so much, and you have to make notes and summaries and so on, but that's for another time. So, the fugue. I will add that camera to my fingers, my hands, to explain to you that this is a very, very difficult fugue to play, and I will show you some passages. Like, for instance, it starts already with the see what you have to do in the left hand. Continue with the left hand, 16th notes, but take over this melody of the alto voice. And again in the... So this complexity, and we jump right into that. I'm sorry if it is too much rush, but what I mean is you have the theme, of course, a kind of figure that responds to that, and then a very beautiful melody in the alto voice. And that together. That's one thing. Other thing is, for instance, in another bar, and I have the score on the screen so you can follow. Then I have this written with this fingering, all these sixths, and then here decide if you want to continue with one hand, as you often will find that you will find in sources, that what's written in the upper bar you play with one hand, what's written in the lower bar you play with another hand. Sometimes, of course, there are exceptions with very difficult music. So here I could, for instance, decide to play this with my left hand, but then I have to return to this one. So it's difficult. If you play it in one hand, you inevitably have to use your first finger twice on a 16th run, which is difficult because I want to sound it, and it sounds. So you have to make an articulation in order to go to the other note. So that's hard to make it sound in a cantabile way, and I come back to that. Also left hand. By the way, this shifting, is that the right word? So this gliding from one key to another with the same finger. If it is a fifth finger or it is a thumb, the first finger, that's something you see often in historical fingerings. So this is really okay, but difficult because you have to release the thumb very soft, very gentle, very relaxed. Here you have to, you don't go to the fifth finger here and then just shift fingers, you don't have time for that. And it's not that substitute your fingers while playing on the same note is something that is not often, you will not find that often in 18th century sources, not saying that they didn't do it. So you just go to another note. Here again, this is really awkward because I want to have the third finger on the D sharp because this is a figure. But at the same time, here is an articulation which is great by Bach because I need to make an articulation for the alto voice here, tam, param, because I cannot go at the same time to the D sharp with my third finger and hold my second finger on this note. And again, changing my fingers here is really awkward and you will hear it on the clavichord, it doesn't work. So you make a phrasing here and then take this with the left hand, this E, and then go to the A. So I want to make it seem to feel harder than it is, but it is really hard to make it beautiful again here. So we are now in this fourth system, bar 16 or something. Here. There's a solution in the left hand, the E. And then theme. Again, jump to take the solution of the G sharp in the left hand, which is hard. You have to release very carefully. So, excuse me, there are plenty of spots like that in this piece, and my final thought on this is, and this is something I'm going to say now, it's maybe that needs to be elaborated over the coming months, years, that the first book of the Well-Tempered Clavier, 1722, but without going in too much specifics, which I also have to read about much more than I did, Bach took several pieces, existing pieces, and made some new ones. And what I wanted to say is that if you compare this technique, this clavier technique, with the partitas, which started in 1726, and actually also with the inventions, this kind of difficulties, but difficulties in another way than you would find in the partitas, you will not find in the partitas that much. There you have a different kind of difficulty. Not saying that you nowhere have to take over notes many times, but I have to go deeper in that. It's different, and I have to find out why it is different. So the partitas, they are difficult to play, really difficult, but they feel great on the clavichord, as if there's nothing that you feel needs a kind of taking care of more to fit on the clavichord. This might be, and that's something I just say now as a final point of this Afterthoughts, in my opinion, my first reaction would be that it is an older piece with an older technique, which might suit the harpsichord maybe a little bit more than the clavichord. Is the Well-Tempered Clavier by that a harpsichord dedicated piece? I don't think so. But I do think so that the clavichord came in the 18th century, especially in the circles of J.S.Bach, as a new instrument. You cannot compare these unfretted clavichords to the fretted ones. I have now a small one, I'm enjoying it very much, but it's a completely different world. And this kind of support you need in the key in order to take all these notes from both hands over in a fluent way, that goes very well on an organ, goes very well on a harpsichord, better than on a clavichord, where you need so much care for the releases. You don't have support on the note as you turn your hand, or if you turn your hand in a new position, as you can do on an organ, on a harpsichord. So maybe Bach in his first period, of which we have so little music, is more in the tradition of clavichord and harpsichord. But from the moment that the clavichord goes in this direction of larger unfretted instruments, my feeling is that he really goes with the clavichord, and that he is one of the persons who insisted on developing this instrument. So I hope this was clear, and I not want to make any polarization out of that, because I know it's sensitive material, so to say. But again, really to close this afterthoughts, this fugue compared to the partitas, if I would have to say which one fits the clavichord the best, the partitas by far, really. This is very, very tricky on the clavichord. It sounds beautiful though on the clavichord, as all polyphonic pieces do sound very well on the clavichord. So that's a personal side note to end. Again, I have to finish, I have to work on that, and I have to think on that. It's my first initial thought that I give to you. So that was it. Thank you for subscribing to the channel as always. If you would like to support our project and our channel, you can do so by even $1 or $3 a month. There's a link here and in the description box. I really appreciate it. Also for the people who did already, it's really mind-blowing to see how this develops, and who knows where it ends. Okay, thank you for watching, and we see each other very soon again. Bye.